One Punch Man is one of the most iconic anime ever created, with it being one of the few anime that even those who don't watch anime have heard about. It seems like everyone who watches One Punch Man falls in love with it. However, if you watched my I don't care about good animation video, then you would know that I actually wasn't the biggest fan of One Punch Man. I thought it was very funny, and whilst the animation was objectively great, I just couldn't connect with it. This is all the more surprising considering Mob Psycho 100 is what I currently consider to be my favourite anime, closely followed by Steins Gate and Gintama if you're curious. However, I always felt like I hadn't given One Punch Man its fair due. A lot of people refer to One Punch Man as their favourite anime of all time, and I'm obviously a fan of the creator's other work, so I decided, okay, I'm going to rewatch Season 1 and watch Season 2 for the first time, and you know what? I really enjoyed One Punch Man. Maybe it's because I've watched so many subpart anime, or maybe I had my eyes closed the entire time I watched it the first time, but I think I really liked One Punch Man Season 1. And Season 2. Let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. I will speak of the infamous second season later in the video, and just because I said I really like One Punch Man does not mean that my opinion has done a full 180. It's more of a 150 if I'm being honest. Some of the issues I had when I originally watched One Punch Man persisted in my rewatch. There were also a couple new issues this time as well. One Punch Man Season 1 is famous for its amazing animation, and despite my previous video claiming otherwise, I was quite impressed with the animation this time. I believe it may be due to knowing how the fights played out, but I had a much easier time following what was happening during the action sequences, which enabled me to enjoy them more than I did the first time. However, to my genuine surprise, the final fight sequence against Boris didn't leave as big of an impression on me as it did the first time. Despite my claims that the animation in One Punch Man never really hooked me like everyone else, I had always said that Saitama vs Boris was the exception. It was one of the few anime fights that I thought was excellent. For some reason, I was disappointed on this rewatch. It's still an objectively well-animated fight, but it didn't resonate with me like last time. Maybe it's because I didn't watch it in the highest quality, but I wasn't a fan of it on this rewatch. In fact, it wasn't even my favourite fight of the series. That honour has to go to the Saitama vs Genos fight. My main issue with One Punch Man was that the fight lacked build-up, and because I didn't really care about the characters fighting, I didn't care about the fight itself. However, this fight was different. I had seen the anime once before, so I was accustomed to both characters and actually liked both characters. I was also aware of a certain event that had happened in the manga around the time I decided to rewatch the anime that also heightened my emotions around this scene. To clarify, the combination of me caring about these characters with the stellar animation made the scene click for me, and I probably enjoyed it more than any other moment in the entire anime. I'm also slightly concerned that my mental health may have deteriorated since I last watched the anime, because on this rewatch I liked Saitama a lot more. I could even relate to him somewhat, which is not something you often hear when describing an overpowered anime protagonist. Saitama is so powerful that he's growing bored and even depressed. He's also not very smart, one of the few things Genos outclasses him in. There are moments where Saitama does something that makes you question his intelligence, but one thing that is never in question is Saitama's heart. Saitama is a kind man and will willingly vilify himself to make others look better. Genos incorrectly assumes that people are drawn to Saitama because he's strong, but it's actually because he's just a good dude who doesn't really judge anyone and will hang out with them regardless. It's not like he has to worry about them hurting him. One Punch Man Season 1 is fantastic and deserving of its iconic status, and I am a fool for not seeing that the first time I watched it. One Punch Man Season 2 is a different story. One Punch Man Season 1 is known for being an expectation-defying show. One Punch Man Season 2, on the other hand, is known for being disappointing. However, whilst I do agree there was a drop in quality between the two seasons, the drop wasn't as significant as a lot of people made out. The way people talk about the animation in One Punch Man Season 2 led me to believe that the entire season was a series of still images positioned in such a way that you were essentially watching a slideshow labelled One Punch Man 2. The animation in One Punch Man Season 2 is fine. I won't lie, there are moments where the animation isn't particularly good. There are also moments when the animation is actually good. However, these are only moments and not the entire sequences and episodes present in One Punch Man Season 1. It should not come as a surprise though, since I made a video titled I don't care about good animation, that this drop in animation quality didn't bother me. Why? Because the story and characters in Season 2 are better than Season 1. Garu is the most interesting character out of everyone in One Punch Man, and it was entertaining watching him fight heroes and progress like a shonen protagonist, despite clearly being a villain. An understandable villain, but a villain nonetheless. Garu is essentially the opposite of Genos. Both strong characters, both physically and in terms of development, but neither is the strongest, so you as the viewer watch as both men face challenge after challenge, with neither character necessarily coming out on top, but with both refusing to give up and improving as a result of it. However, Garu is flawed in his ideology and trying to exterminate the heroes, but will run if he senses his defeat. Genos lacks the proper understanding of human emotions, but is willing to end his own life if it will result in the safety of others. That is what separates them, and why Garu is a villain and Genos a true hero. I also enjoyed the proper introduction of Fubiki, following her brief cameo in Season 1, although her fight against Saitama is one of the moments where I believe the animation wasn't that great. She was interesting, and I enjoyed discovering about her relationship with her somehow older sister. Saitama was pushed to the background in Season 2, and it was both a good thing and a bad thing. Bad because Saitama is a great character who you want to see more of, but good because it allowed other characters their time in the spotlight. It also allowed an actual story to develop involving the Monsters Association, or whatever they are called, and it was entertaining to watch as heroes like Metal Bat and King were allowed room to breathe. One Punch Man Season 2 may not be as good as One Punch Man Season 1, but it was still an enjoyable ride, one which I would like to go on again if they ever do make Season 3. At the very least, Season 2 has got me interested in checking out the manga, which is not something that usually happens after I watch an anime. I hope that all of you can forgive me for not adoring One Punch Man like the rest of you. Believe me, I've seen the error of my ways and will now join you in kneeling before the great series that is One Punch Man. Anyway, that's it. Goodbye.